All right, Frank Bonada here for LowKick MMA. With me today is Murdo Todd once again, and we're going to be breaking down this weekend's UFC Fight Night, Sandhagen versus Song. Uh, how are you doing today, Murdo? What do you think of this fight card?
Doing well. I'm really excited for the main event. I just think it'll be a very entertaining fight. I think it'll be a really good fight. And some kind of sleepers on the card that should be kind of pretty entertaining. So yeah, I think it'll be a good event.
Yeah, solid little fight card. Let's get stuck into the main event. Cory Sandhagen versus Song Yadong. Cracking bantamweight matchup, but I mean most matchups of bantamweight are just good at this point. The division's so stacked. Uh, Cory Sandhagen on a two-fight losing streak, though was the fight against TJ Dillashaw, deservedly a loss or not? I at the time scored it for Sandhagen, and even in rewatching it, I gave it to him as well. And then obviously most recently losing to Piotr Yan, which is on somewhat short notice. Um, yeah, he's taking on Song Yadong on a three-fight winning streak. KOs over Marlon Moraes, Julio Arce, and a split decision win over Casey Kenny. All very good wins. Yeah, what's your read on this fight, Murdo? How do you see it going?
Um, yeah, I mean, first off, just I think it'll be a really interesting fight. I think it's a really good time to see where Song Yadong is at in his career. He's only 25. Um, But I just think Cory Sandhagen a bit too experienced over 5 rounds for me. And I think the best way you have success over Sandhagen is mixing in grappling and takedowns. But I don't think Song Yadong can do that. But people have gotten Cory Sandhagen also joined. I think it's 3 inch reach, 3 inch height. I've seen Song Yadong listed smaller. It depends where you look. But do you know what? I rewatched the Song Yadong Marlon Vera fight. I think Vera's kind of got a kind of similar frame to Sandhagen, quite tall. And Song Yadong did really well getting inside. He kind of neutralized Vera's kicks from the outside. And kind of smaller guys have gotten inside on Sandhagen's last 2 fights. But yeah, I've got Sandhagen by decision plus 110, and I've also got Sandhagen in a parlay. Honestly, I think it might play out like the Peter Yan fight, but I just think Yudong will have his moments. You'll have success, but I think overall, Sandhagen will prove just a little bit better, a little bit more experienced as time goes on. He's experienced over 5. So yeah, what's your read on this?
Yeah, well, I mean, my read is similar to yours. I think it's a super competitive matchup. Um, both strikers. Sandhagen probably has more weapons available to him, whereas Yudong, I, he seems to possess more like just pure physical power in his hands. He's a proper brawler, and a super dynamic fighter. I think it's a almost a 50-50 matchup. Um, which is why I'm gonna back Song Yadong in this fight. Just taking his money line at plus 170. You see a lot of these main events or fight night main events where these guys. I do agree that Sandhagen has the sort of experience advantage. He's been in there with some of the best and been in there for 5 rounds. But I just think it's closer than it could be. It could easily go to a decision, and the power that Song possesses could easily see him racking up rounds. He could win, 1 round based off skill, and then get 2 random knockdowns. It kind of reminds me of the Mateus Gamrot versus Arman Sayukian fight a while back, where Sayukian was a heavy favorite, and I was like, realistically, these guys, their skill level is not that wide apart. So obviously, well, I went and backed Gamrot, and he won. It was a very close decision, but I wouldn't be surprised if that ended up being the case in this one as well. They just slug it out for 5 rounds, and with MMA judges, they could go either way. So yeah, I have gone with Song in this one. He's got momentum behind him. Trains out of a good gym. He does have some wrestling chops as well. Doesn't utilize it all the time, but if he needs to, he can. Obviously, He's Team Alpha Male, which are all like very dynamic wrestlers. Um, so yeah, I think he can do it. I'm not saying he will, but I think he has a better chance than the odds imply. Yeah, as a result, I'm gonna back him.
Yeah, it definitely wouldn't be the first time in a fight night that I would have backed the favorite and the underdogs come and won it. But yeah, I don't. I think the safer option is definitely with Sandhagen. He's more proven. I think there's a lot of questions, especially over five for Yudong. But yeah, there's great value there. He's a great talent, and I wouldn't be shocked if he won. But I'm just playing the safer option.
Mm.
And I think
Uh,
also in
go
the Vera fight, he proved he's got a pretty good chin on him, pretty durable as well. So I don't really see him getting kind of knocked out. I also don't think Sandhagen can sometimes stay on the outside a little too much, and I think sometimes he waits for these perfect, opportunities to a flying knee or something crazy, and he can't get, caught waiting too much because
on.
Song Yadong will put it on him with volume and power. So he can't be too patient. He can't wait around too much for this one.
He was dropped was he dropped against Yan? I feel like he was, or at least like
I
knocked down to
think
one knee.
I think so.
Yeah, it was that like spinning back fist into an overhand exchange.
Yeah.
But I think that was the first time. But it's shown that he can be hurt. He's still not been knocked out, but I do think Song possesses so much power in his hands that maybe he doesn't finish it, but I do think, like I said earlier, he can pick up round winning moments. Um, what I do wonder though, what do you think is next for the winner of this fight? Because there's a lot of mix-ups in the bantamweight division right now. Obviously TJ and Aljamain Sterling are fighting next month now, I think. You've got guys like Marab in the mix. I don't know. Could the winner of this fight get a title shot? Do you think that's feasible, or is it like a
I
number one contender bout?
I think Sandhagen will have to wait longer than Yudong. There's more
Mm,
options for Yudong because he's not fought these other guys.
yeah,
I think if Yudong wins, they maybe throw him in with the winner of the Peter Yan
O'Malley fight. Yeah,
Sean O'Malley fight. But with Sandhagen, it's maybe a Vera fight would be fun, I think.
yeah.
Um, but I think he has to win this one and maybe another two to kind of get in that title contention again.
I wouldn't be surprised if Dillashaw managed to beat Algeo. I wouldn't be
Well,
surprised
that's
if they
true.
rematch that because I think even Dana was saying like he didn't score it the way the judges did. So yeah,
That's true.
it's a lot of shake up in that top sort of four, no, top five of the bantamweight division. Obviously, you got Aljo's the champion, Piotr Yan number one, Dillashaw two, Marab three, Sandhagen four, and Vera five. And then obviously if Sadong, if Yadong wins this, he'll be into the top five as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, interesting time for the bantamweight division.
And if Marab if Aljamain wins, then they won't put Marab in for the title.
That's true.
So he'll be there as well. Yeah, there's a lot of kind of moving part, but Yudong's definitely got it'll be a little easier past the title if he wins.
Mm. Um, so the co-main event was initially set to be Giga Chikadze versus Sadiq Yusuf. Chikadze fell out, and I believe they have found a replacement uh for Giga for Yusuf to fight. I've not done any tape study on this. I think it was only announced this morning. So
Oh, I've not seen it.
yeah. So we'll pass over that one. But I mean, Sadiq Yusuf's always a fun fight. I don't
Yeah.
think he's even been confirmed yet. So hopefully he's on the card. But yeah, we're not gonna have any action on that. What at least Tapology have listed as their co-main event right now is Chidi and Njokuani versus Gregory Rodrigues. Really, really fun fight. Once again, just a pure action fight. Um, Chidi Bang Bang has been on fire since picking up a win on the Contender Series, knocking out Mario Souza. He picked up KO wins over Marc-Andre Barriault and Dusko Todorovic. The Todorovic one especially was brutal with a sort of close elbow that just flattened him. Whereas Gregory Rodrigues, Robocop, He well, he's a Brazilian like black belt, like very, very high level jiu-jitsu practitioner, but seems to have fallen in love with his hands as of late. We saw that against Julian Marquez, just like beat him from pillar to post. Close fight with Armin Petrosian, which most of that played out on the feet as well. And then he also has a KO win over Julian Park. Uh, this is a fun fight, a really fun fight. The thing is, I feel like Rodrigues is going to get drawn into the striking exchanges once again. He is, I mean, maybe he gets knocked down and pulls out a Charles Oliveira where, Njokuani tries to finish the fight and jumps into a submission. But I feel like he's going to want to bang, and I think Njokuani is such a good high level striker that he can sneak in a win. And I have backed Njokuani to pull out the win in this fight, taking his money line at -110, and also Njokuani inside the distance at +187. Yeah, I just think he can catch Rodrigues in the exchanges. What's your read in this fight?
I think, yeah, it's a good competitive fight. I think it'll be close. Um, but I'm really happy that you've got to do the pronouncing the other names first, and I don't have to introduce people first. So I'm just going to go Chidi.
Yeah.
I think that the power advantage is definitely with him. I think if Gregory his best route of success is mixing in his grappling, but as you say, he's kind of been heavy striking. But I think he'll know that Chidi's very dangerous, and he'll go for that. But I think good finishing rates for both of them. But both men can be finished. Chidi's been stopped 4 times, and Gregory was KO'd by Jordan Williams, who's a welterweight, and
Mm.
not a particularly good one. So I've gone under 2.5, which was I can't remember the odds. I think it was -175 or no, something like that. But
Under
yeah,
two
I've
and a
gone for the
half
under two and a
is
half. Oh, one
current.
seven.
Yeah, currently -175.
Yeah, and I've got that in a parlay with the next fight.
Nice. Yeah, I think that's a solid bet. I might parlay that as well, to be honest, because they are just both finishing machines.
Yeah,
And yeah, there's a lot of different ways the fight could finish. Like I say, I mean, I don't know what the odds are because, like I say, the betting platform we both use doesn't give us individual KO or sub props. It's only like inside the distance, but the sub prop on Rodrigues might be a good line.
yeah.
I'd have to check what it is, but just as a sneaky little sprinkle on there. But yeah, cracking fight, just a pure action fight. They're just going to go out there and throw. And I wouldn't be surprised if the winner starts looking towards a potential ranking because they're both really fun fighters, but both. Well, what Njokuani is 33 now, whilst Rodrigues is 30. Yeah, it's still got a decent amount of time before they start declining, but I would like to see them start getting some like elite level matchups soon.
Mhm.
All right, let's go into the next fight. Again, going off Tapology's listings, Andre Fili versus Bill Algeo. One of the sort of toughest fights on the card to pick, in my opinion. I've sort of considered backing both sides at different times. Right now, the line is at Andre Fili -125, Bill Algeo +100. So yeah, the line sort of reflects how close it is. Do you have a side, and how do you see it playing out?
I have absolutely no side. I was the same as you. I've thought about both, and I think the line has moved a little. But I've thought of both. I do have a play. I have this parlayed with the under 2.5 from the last fight. I've got fight goes the distance at -225. Both guys not huge finishers. I know Bill Algeo got a finish recently over Herbert Burns, but before that, um, he's not had another finish in the UFC. Um, Fili, he was finished earlier this year, but before that, his last stoppage loss was in 2016 to Yair Rodrigues, and for Bill Algeo, his last stoppage loss was in 2014 against Shane Burgos, and I don't think that fight wasn't even in the UFC. So they can both survive. Neither has huge punching power. We saw Algeo threaten submissions in his last fight, but I think Fili can stay away from them, and I think it'll go the full 15.
Yeah, I think that's a solid read. I don't have a huge amount to add, to be honest. It is just super close. Algeo has some sort of inventive striking, but yeah, like you say, doesn't hit particularly hard. And yeah, I can't remember last time Andrew Fili finished a fight. If anything, I feel like his submission threat is more live than the KO, but Algeo is not bad on the ground as well. So we saw him sort of defending submissions against Gilbert Burns, his brother Herbert Burns, who obviously everyone knows the Burns brothers jiu-jitsu accolades. So yeah, if I go distance, I feel like minus 225 is a little bit wide. Maybe
Yeah,
yeah. I'm not certain. I'll have to think on
it
that.
was a little wide, but when I was looking at it, I was like, I think it'd be stupid not to put it on. I think it's like obviously stuff happens, but I think if you look at
Mm,
the past records, it's I don't know, not a bad move.
yeah, I might look at the over 2.5 because that's only minus 250, but like
Yeah,
parlay wise,
yeah,
um, it's not a huge amount of difference. Potentially, I'm not sure on that one still. I'll have to have a think, but should be a fun fight all the same.
yeah.
Really does bring it, and Algiers are fun. Yeah, like I said, sort of inventive striker. He's got a lot of fun sort of kicks and stuff in his arsenal. Fun little fight, but like I don't imagine it'll have much impact on the sort of like featherweight standings at all.
No,
I mean, Algeo is riding a 2-fight winning streak, so maybe he's getting close to a ranking, I suppose. But um, yeah, I'm not sure. Wasn't Fili like reportedly cut from the UFC and then like immediately re-signed? I swear I heard something about that.
I'm not
Um,
sure, but because he's what three, he's got
yeah,
three losses and one no contest in his last four. But I don't know. I'm sure I saw something like that too. But he's
yeah.
been around for so long. He's fought everyone. He's a good like a good marker piece for a lot of contenders.
Mm, a
Because a lot of
gatekeeper.
the if you look back, he's fought like all the guys he's lost to have gone on to do really well. So yeah, I think it'll be a very close fight.
Mm,
I
yeah,
honestly couldn't pick a side though.
yeah. No, yeah. If anything, I think the over's probably the way to go in this one. Okay, moving down the main card, Alan Amedovski takes on Joe Pyfer. Um, I mean, this is just like a gimme for Pyfer, really, isn't it? He picked up that big KO win on the Contender Series, knocking out Ozzy Diaz, who I think Ozzy Diaz was a decent favorite in that fight. And that was the episode where Dana like kicked off because no one was getting finishes apart from Joe Pyfer. And he's got a really big sort of rub now. He's been showed at a lot of events when he's in the crowd, and I believe he's having one of those Contender Series YouTube episodes made on him this week. So yeah, I think the UFC just want to set him up for an impressive debut win here because he takes on Alan Amedovski from North Macedonia, currently riding a 3-fight losing streak. Last 2 fights submitted by Joseph Holmes and KO'd by John Phillips. The Holmes fight as well was basically a knockout, I believe, from like a sort of flying knee, step-in knee. And then he just sort of locked up the submission afterwards. Yeah, I mean, uh, Pyfer is a massive favorite, as he should be. Um, yeah, minus 450, whereas Amedowski comes in at plus 350, 350. I have parlayed Pyfer inside the distance with another fighter lower on the card. Yeah, I just think he goes out there and will run through Amedowski. It's kind of sad seeing guys like this in this sort of matchup. Yeah, he's 34 years old, is Amedowski. 8-3, not the most experienced fighter. I believe he took, yeah, like a long time out prior to his last fight. He hadn't fought in 2 years and 11 months. Came back, knocked out well, knocked out and submitted by Joseph Holmes, and has now been paired up with a lethal knockout artist. So it's just probably gets KO'd in the first couple of rounds. You could take inside the distance as well, but yeah, Joe Pyfer all the way. How do you see it?
Yeah, it's the same. I just think Joe Pyfer's just going to smash the way through him. I think him um I think Joe Pyfer in the first round's sitting in like even money. This is
Fuck.
yeah, it's not so it's like I just think Amedovski, he's not got a great chin. He's not very good. He shouldn't be in the UFC to be
Mm,
honest, but it's a good fight. A good give the new kind of up and coming contender guys a bit of UFC experience, make that walk, have a bit of an easier go of it. But yeah, inside the distance, I'll be parlaying. I have not found something to pair it with yet, but I will be parlaying with Joe Pyfer inside the distance. I think it's sitting at minus 225. Yeah,
yeah, spot.
I just don't see him surviving, to be honest.
No, nor me. Unfortunately, he seems like a nice guy as well, Amedovski. I've seen some of his interviews. He's talking about fighting for his family and that. And yeah,
It's a
I
shame,
mean,
isn't it?
it is
You know
a
what I mean?
shame. And you know what? He was undefeated before coming to the UFC. He was knocked out Will Fleury for Bellator. And Will Fleury's signed for PFL now, not a bad fighter. But came into the UFC, was matched up with Krzysztof Jotko, who's a very solid sort of veteran fighter. Then knocked out by John Phillips. Took nearly 3 years out, came back, knocked out and submitted by Joseph Holmes in the same fight. Um, yeah, you got to feel for
And
him.
he'll be cut after this as well. So it's
Definitely.
like,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? It's sad, but this is I suppose this is the way it is.
Yeah. Oh, hey, maybe he gets a shot KO win. Who knows? Um,
You're gonna put a
no,
buy
I'm
on that.
not. Not going close. All right, let's move on to the last fight of the main card. Is it? Oh no, no, second to last fight. Heavyweight clash between Tanner Boser and Rodrigo Nascimento. Um, Tanner Boser looked like he was going to be something special for a while, and is now sort of like leveled out a bit. Comes into this fight, I a favorite, but I believe it has been closing. Yeah, a minus 175 favorite. He was minus 225, I think, last week. So that's been rapidly closing. Rodrigo Nascimento plus 150. Yeah, how do you see this fight going, Murdo?
Um, no, I'm not a huge fan of betting on heavyweight fights.
Yeah.
In general, I think I'll probably be parlaying Boser. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I just think more experience. I know Nascimento has some good submissions and has some good finishes, but um, Tanner's only been finished once in his career, which I think is very impressive, especially for a heavyweight and with some of the guys he's fought.
Mm.
Um, Not a huge read on this, to be honest. There's a bit of an unknown with Nascimento. How good is he really? And heavyweight fights are really unpredictable, at the best of times. So yeah, but I think I'll be putting him in a parlay. What about yourself?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Bosa is one of those guys who's like, there's this narrative of a new breed of heavyweights, guys who are lighter on their feet, move around a lot more than the sort, guys like Cyril Gahn, Tom Aspinall, the likes. And I really thought Bosa was one of the sort of new crop when he first came to the UFC, but he's dropped losses to veterans like Latifi and Orlovsky. These are guys that Tom Aspinall overcame. So he's sort of like leveled out a bit just outside the top 15, I think. But he's not a massive sort of I was gonna say he's not a massive KO threat, but I'm just looking at his record now and OSP KO win, Rafael Pessoa KO win, Felipe Lin's KO win. But I don't know. I feel like he doesn't have a huge amount of power compared to some heavyweights. He does rely on a sort of more movement based. Well, again, we said this about Garn a few weeks ago, but sort of the heavyweight equivalent of a point fighter. So Yeah, I'm looking at maybe playing some overs. I'm wondering over 1.5 rounds minus 138. Don't mind that, to be honest. Um, I probably wouldn't play an over 2.5 in a heavyweight fight, but that is plus money, plus 150. Um, I, yeah, I don't have a huge read on Nascimento either. What does a no contest against Alan Badeau tell you? Fuck all. He also lost to Chris Dorcas, who is a decent heavyweight. Um, I think Boser should win. Um, maybe I'll parlay him. Now the lines got closer, minus 175. Yeah, it could be worth mixing with. Yeah, not got anything on it yet, but I might look into it. Um, yeah, it's a standard heavyweight fight. The UFC just like sticking them on the main cards of the fight nights.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I think it'll be. Yeah, I think Boser should be the favorite. The over 1.5's a good call. Yeah, I don't know. I've not got too much to say about it really. I just find heavyweight fights are just so unpredictable.
Yeah, so
You know.
what do you ever have to say about a heavyweight fight?
Yeah, I
uh,
think it's like if you don't have a huge good read on it, maybe don't. You know what I
yeah.
mean? It's like, but
Yeah, I've cashed a few heavyweight over 1.5 rounds as of late, so I might continue the trend with this one. What was it, minus 138?
that's a good price.
Yeah, it's not bad. So, not completely certain if this is the final main card fight or the feature preliminary bout or what, because different sites give you different readings. But regardless, next up is Anthony Fluffy Hernandez taking on Mark Andre Barriault. Sort of Hernandez massively rose into popularity when he submitted sort of the submission specialist himself, Adolfo Vieira, via guillotine choke last year. And then he also picked up a win over Josh Fremd, who he was one of the guys off the Dana White looking for a fight, one of the big guys off that. Got a nice decision win over him. So yeah, he's Hernandez is riding high right now, taking on the power bar, Marc-Andre Barriault, one of the most sort of like relentless, high pressure fighters in the division. Um, Looking at the odds right now, we have Hernandez is a minus 175 favorite. Barriault sits at a plus 150 underdog. Um, I know you have a side, Murdo, but which side is it?
I have got Hernandez in a parlay, but I have got Hernandez. Barriault. Yeah, I mean his striking fair. I don't know. I'm not hugely impressed by him, to be honest. Um, I think he leaves himself open a lot when he's striking. It's not particularly fast. I think he got taken down a few times in his last fight against Jordan Wright. Um, and I think Anthony Hernandez will be definitely be able to take him down. I think definitely a big submission threat there. Hernandez definitely showed improvement in his striking as well. But I think you'll if he uses his grappling well, I think you'll win this one. What about you?
Yeah, I'm on the complete opposite side. Um, I I don't know. I've been impressed by Barrier, like sort of picking up these like under the radar decision victories over people, just massive pressure. Especially Dalchi Lung Bula, a guy who's like way powerful than him. And he just like constantly pressures, takedowns, clinch work. Like he's happy to just push a guy up a fence against a fence for like half a round and just like use knees, deaden the legs, just sap at their gas tank, use his own sort of cardio to sap at the other person's cardio. Um, and I think Anthony Hernandez is another of these guys who's getting a big push off the fact that he got um a semi-viral win moment. This is similar to guys like I spoke about Charles Jourdain a few weeks ago, and I said like he had moments where he front kicked Andre Ewell and he submitted Lando Venata whilst pulling his trousers down at the same time. Moments like that get clipped and they go on Twitter and everyone sees his name, sees him, and it makes their stock rise. Whereas guys like Barriault, who aren't the biggest finishers in the world, go under the radar a bit. So yeah, I've backed Barriault to win, taking his money line, which was at, I think it's just the current money line, plus 150. But I've also taken Barriault to win via decision as well, at plus 450.
Yeah, no, it's a good shout. Barrios. I'm not a fan. Um, I know he
Yeah,
got
that's it.
popped.
No one
I
is, and
know he
that's
got.
why he gets like
I know he got popped for steroids, so
yeah.
I can't really be rocking with Mark Andre Barrio, unfortunately. And I don't know. I
Change
think
man.
no, for me, it's like I just don't. I'm not like particularly like I'm. He just doesn't. Not. It's not special. I don't know. I'm just not a huge fan. I just don't
Mm.
rate him that much, to be honest. I think you can definitely pick up wins over maybe some unranked and the fringe middleweights, but I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
riding with Anthony Hernandez. But yeah, I can totally see where you're coming from.
Yeah, I no, I agree with your sentiment that like he's definitely got a cap as how far he can go up the sort of the rankings, so to speak. Like not the top 15, but even the top 25 or whatever. But I just don't think Hernandez deserves to be that high up those rankings, in all honesty. I think he's been sort of jumped up because of the shot guillotine win over Rodolfo Vieira. Because like let's be honest, the reason he got it is because Vieira gassed out. It
Yeah,
wasn't like he did very well to defend the initial attacks of Vieira, but ultimately it wasn't so much a technique thing that got him the win. It was Vieira just completely gassing out and him capitalizing on that, which is still impressive, but it doesn't mean that he is this amazing sort of prospect that it might imply that he is. So yeah, I've got two. Neither are massive plays on Barriault. They're both under a unit, but
yeah.
yeah, Barriault money line, Barriault by decision. Yeah, plus 450 by decision. You got to take a step on that.
That's a good line.
Yeah. Um. Okay, that's the main card done and dusted. Um. We're not going to take a look at all the prelims on here because there are quite a few, and quite a few that we don't have any action on, and some that'll just be interesting to watch for sort of like future reference. But I believe you have a side in the feature prelim, Damon the Leech Jackson taking on Pat Sabatini in a featherweight clash.
Yeah, I've got Pat Sabatini. I think his money line is sitting at minus 188 at the moment. I'm looking to parlay him with someone. Um, yeah, I just think can put the pressure on Jackson. No, Jackson's not particularly good on the feet. I don't think he'll like the forward pressure. I think Sabatini's probably a bit more explosive as a wrestler as well. Yeah, I would side with Sabatini in this one for sure.
Yeah, I think he's probably the rightful favorite. Super sort of athletic fighter who just doesn't give his opponents much time to root to start locking up the submissions or even get like grappling escapes out. So yeah, I think that's fair. Maybe I'll parlay him. I'm not certain yet. I do quite like Jackson. And he's a super like grizzled veteran, seen it all.
Hmm.
And yeah, he's a finisher through and through. So yeah, Sabatini's probably the right play there, in all honesty. Um, Anything on Giles versus Kosuke?
Yeah, I've got the under 2.5. I think of combined in their careers, I think they've only gone to decision 3 times between them. So that's at minus 150. I thought it was a pretty good line, so I'm looking to parlay that as well. Um,
I mean, you could
yeah,
take that straight, to be honest. Minus
yeah,
150. Yeah.
yeah. I'm not gonna pick a side in this one. I don't think. Yeah, there's no sides, but I think the under 2.5 um, is the smartest thing to do. To be honest, I think. Yeah,
Yeah. Giles coming off back-to-back KO losses. Um, and bloody hell. Yeah. I'm not sure about all of his fights, but Kosuke's last 5 fights have all ended inside the distance, so probably not a bad read. You know what? You could
yeah,
maybe even take Kosuke inside the distance as well.
Yeah.
But I won't be, but it's an option.
Yeah.
Um, moving down, Aspen Ladd, Sarah McMahon. Uh, not yeah, we sort of spoke about this off camera before, but Aspen Ladd has to be one of the most inconsistent fighters on the UFC roster. With her last two, well, especially the main event fight with Norma Dumont was just one of the most bizarre 5 round fights I've ever seen. And she didn't do much to sort of like fill anyone with confidence against Raquel Pennington either. Pennington had a broken hand in that whole fight, and she still outboxed her. So yeah, Sarah McMahon is a veteran of the game. She's been around for ages. Wrestling background, I believe. Maybe
Yeah.
yeah, Olympic
Yeah.
wrestler. I think so. Very very elite wrestler. Um, but who knows? Aspen Ladd, well, in her prime, she had some really impressive sort of like clinch work, top control,
Yeah.
skills. But who knows what side of her is going to show up?
There seemed to just be a lot of hope for her at some point, I think.
Yeah,
Quite a big push on her, but she just hasn't really delivered. Anytime she's kind of stepped up remotely, she's struggled. She struggled with weight and injuries. So it's and McMahon's 41 now, so it's like there's so many unknowns going into this fight. I wouldn't touch it. I'm definitely not going anywhere near it. I don't know. They're both good wrestlers. Maybe want to give the on the feet to Ladd, but it's
hopefully.
just
Yeah, but who
it.
knows? Like,
You don't know. You have no
yeah,
clue who's what kind of Aspen Ladd could show up. She might turn up and just perform like we've seen her do well in the past, but it's too risky for me for the price as well.
yeah. I mean, the line effects as well. Ladd -138, McMahon +110. So yeah, stay away from it. Even the overs and the unders, like, uh, it's probably gonna go the distance, but then like you really don't know. Ladd has finished people in the past. She knocked out Yana Kunitskaya, so
Yeah.
just not touching it. I'm just not going anywhere near
No, definitely not.
that. Denise Gomez versus Luma Lookboonmee. Not a fight I'm playing at all, but I do like Luma Lookboonmee, a proper like Muay Thai fighter. I believe Gomez is stepping in on short notice. Um, Lookboonmee is a massive favorite. Yeah, I don't have a read. Well, no, I do have a read. I think Lookboonmee is going to win, but I'm not going to play her at that line because I don't really know who Denise Gomez is. And also, I just think Lookboonmee is so small for that division that there's always a chance she can get outmuscled by anyone.
Yeah, I think it's a good shout. Just a lot of unknowns. Do you know what I mean? It's
Mm.
I think her opponent won on the contender series, Gomez.
Yeah, she did
Stepping on
2 weeks
late
ago
notice.
or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah,
Bloody
God,
hell.
yeah.
Yeah.
So stepping in on really late notice, but yeah, just not a huge read on this. No.
Mm. But Lookboonmee is fun though, so it'd be a good watch. Um, Trey Ogden versus Daniel Zellhuber. Um, I'm backing Daniel Zellhuber in this fight. I've got him in a parlay uh with Joe Pyfer by Inside the Distance. Um, Zellhuber is I think it's a -200 favorite odd. Um, 12-0. Nickname's the Golden Boy. He's a dangerous striker from Mexico. Um, taking on Trey Ogden, whose nickname is the Samurai Ghost. He couldn't decide between the two, so he put it both together.
It's like something out of Step Brothers, that name,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Oh man.
I don't rate Trey Ogden particularly highly, in all honesty. I believe he did he step in on short notice against Jordan Levitt, something like that.
It doesn't
Um,
even matter. I
I
just don't rate. Yeah.
think Zellhuber is pretty good though. I think he's a very dangerous striker. I
Yeah.
think he might be live for a finish as well. I think this is kind of a gimme fight, similar to the Pyfer fight, to be honest, where I think he just goes in there and will just batter Trey Ogden from pillar to post. I have a look what his inside the distance line is, because that might be worth a stab as well if it's any decent money. Um, Got Zellhuber, plus 130, maybe. Um, but yeah, I just think that Zellhuber's gonna win and win easily.
Yeah, I would agree.
Sweet. Not a fight I've got any play on, but Maria Agapova versus Gillian Robertson. Fun fight. Agapova is just batshit crazy. Gillian Robertson's sort of entering veteran status now. Lethal submission specialist. Whereas Agapova is sort of like sort of bully fighter, uses her size and strength to just get people to the ground or push them against the cage and just unload on them. But yeah, Robertson's the favorite, but I don't have a read in it either way. Do you?
Oh, no, no read on it at all, really. A lot of these kind of lower ones,
Yeah,
I've stayed away from. Just yeah,
yeah,
there's a
yeah, yeah.
lot
We're
of
just running through them now, just in case. Tony Gravely versus Javid Basharat is a fight I have a play on. I've taken Tony Gravely at just underdog money, his money line. I got him at minus 162. That line has already changed with Gravely now at sorry, I took Gravely at plus 162 and he's now at plus 140. That line getting closer. I think Basharat is one of those fighters who he's sort of got that like Conor McGregor, Sean O'Malley sort of esque stance, and gets the sort of accolades that go along with it. I don't think he's that good. I think he's similar to who did I say before? Hernandez, in that you see some clips, he's on the contender series and stuff, and um he speaks quite well and all that, but I just don't think he's as good as it looks. And I think Gravely is a very solid fighter, good wrestling. I think he might even have some taekwondo in his background. Got some power as well. Knocked out Johnny Munoz most recently. Yeah, I think Tony Gravely's going to win. I think the line is just off. So yeah, I'm taking Gravely to win. Plus 162.
not a bad shout. A lot more experience as well.
Mm.
So yeah, good shout.
Last fight, Nicholas Motta, Cameron Van Camp. Any sides, any reads? No.
Nothing on this one. On a lot of the fight night cards, I usually don't have much action, especially like early on in the night.
Yeah.
I can have very little action. Um, yeah, but I think all in all, a pretty good fight card. Have you got anything on the last fight?
No,
First
no,
fight,
no.
sorry.
Not at all. No. I know Motta, a lot of like diehards like quite like Motta. He was a yeah, CFFC guy for a while. And Van Camp made his debut recently against Fialho, got knocked out, but it's quite fun in the process. So that should be a sort of explosive one. Maybe even inside the distance line on that might be worth it.
Yeah,
Because I know Motta is um I was about to say he's a good finisher, but his last two wins came by decision. No, yeah, just probably stay away from it. Yeah, but that's the whole card. It should be fun. I think the main card is fun enough. It's sort of it's quite clearly a fight night card, but
yeah,
that main event is absolutely banging. Njokuani versus Rodrigues will just be fun for
lovely.
however long it lasts. If Sadiq Yusuf is on the card, he's always a great watch. If he's fighting a guy in short notice, he's probably like the lineup would be wide, but it'll probably be a decent parlay piece if you really want to take it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it all in all. Quite a bit better than next week's fight night, which is Dern versus Yan. Actually, I say that looking down the card, Mackenzie Dern versus Yan Xiaonan, Cody Garbrandt, Randy Yaya, Randy Brown, Trinaldo, Tony Bracelos, Jessica Penne. Could be worse.
I think it's a Jairzinho Rosenstrike.
That's not a good thing.
Elia Latifi fighting.
Is he Olenek again? Finally rebooking
Yeah,
him.
I think. Oh, I think Yusuf's fighting. It's got Yusuf fighting next week, not this week.
Oh, has he been pushed back?
I think that's what they've got. That's what Tapology have it as.
Okay.
Julia Storynenko as well. Oh,
All right then, we'll wrap up now. Do you want to do a quick recap of what bets you got on this one then?
yep. So far I've got Cory Sandhagen, got 1 unit by decision. I got the Rodrigues and the Chidi fight under 2.5, which is -175. I've got that parlayed with fight goes the distance in the Fili Algeo fight. And then I've got over 2.5 in the Sandhagen fight. I've got that parlayed with Anthony Hernandez, but I'm also looking for Boser money line, Pyfer inside the distance, the Pat Sabatini money line, and then I have the Koseke and the Giles fight under 2.5 that I'm also looking to parlay. So yeah, what about yourself? What you got?
So 0.75 unit on Song Yadong to beat Cory Sandhagen. Not super confident, but main event fights against high level fighters should never be this wide. When they're both strikers, they're both similar. I quite often take the underdogs in those sort of mains. Chidi and Njokuani to defeat Gregory Rodrigues -110 money line, and then also Njokuani inside the distance +187. I have Mark Andre Barriault money line +140, decision +450, which I just think is a crazy line.
The more you keep talking about that, the more I kind of
it's just such a wide line for a guy who's a decision machine. Like Joe Pyfer, KO, TKO, submission, or DQ, so inside the distance, parlayed with Daniel Zellhuber money line. That comes in about even money. Tony Gravely +162 money line. And then I'm thinking I might parlay Tanner Boser and Pat Sabatini, both their money lines together. Yeah, that's probably quite a good bet. Not locked in yet though. Yeah, should be a good one. And if you enjoyed this video, drop us a like. Feel free to share it on socials and whatnot. And we'll be back next week for Mackenzie Dern versus Yan Xiaonan. Thanks for watching, and yeah, subscribe.
Make sure to subscribe to the LowKick MMA YouTube channel for all the latest news, event previews, and interviews with some of the biggest stars in MMA.